years, it doesn't add up to the last 30 days or last 60 days.
And with President Trump and Governor Northam testing positive, will that be enough to change some people's opinion about the virus?
Absolutely. It's a serious thing.
It's still, everybody's still getting it and it's still going on. I'm concerned.
Now people will take a second look at what they're going to follow.
I don't think people's opinions are changed. People kind of stick with their opinion regardless of outcomes.
Everyone I spoke with say they believe President Trump will recover from the coronavirus, and most agree that he will not remain silent while quarantined. Working for you, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
Well, our coverage of the president's diagnosis doesn't end here. Coming up at 5:30, we'll hear from our political analyst, Dr. Bob Holsworth, about how he believes the president's diagnosis will impact the election moving forward. And we'll also hear more from voters, including how some of our viewers were responding on social media. In the meantime, you can find all of our coverage on our website, WTVR.com, as well as our free news app.
Well, let's talk about the weather now, because the weather we are experiencing the last couple of days has been wonderful.
It has.
I mean, I can't get enough of this. I hope it stays like this for the rest of the fall season.
Yeah, like this is one of those days, Mike Stone, when I open the door and I instantly feel better just stepping outside.
It's some pretty delicious weather we had outside today. We had a little bit of rain last night and very early this morning. And during the day, we've had some clouds from time to time, but those have been breaking up. In fact, if you like how it feels outside right now, I think you're going to love this weekend, because it's going to be kind of like this most of the next 2 days. Let's check out our current numbers now. And you can see that we have a lot of temperatures kind of in the mid to upper 60s. Williamsburg 72, Wakefield is 70, but a lot of us at least in the low to mid to upper 60s. And in terms of what's going on right now, this is the visible satellite picture, and all those little white dots you see are those little puffy clouds that developed today. And then the process of kind of fizzling out and clearing out. So we're going to have a mainly clear overnight period. In fact, if you have anything to do this evening, temperatures will be dropping down through the 50s. And when we wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to be down to the low to mid 40s in the metro, near 50 near the coast, but some of our coldest outlying areas, north and west, will be down into the upper 30s. But we have a gorgeous weekend on tap. A spot or two may see some rain before Sunday's done. I'll kind of detail that for you, and we'll talk about when it's going to warm back up in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you. Just days after a tractor-trailer driver from Maryland was convicted in the death of Hanover firefighter Lieutenant Brad Clark, Clark's widow is speaking out publicly. Our Cameron Thompson has been following this story and has more on the message Melanie Clark shared today. Cameron?
Yeah, Rob, Melanie Clark wants Hanover community and those beyond to remember her husband for more than what he died in, and to remember how he lived life to its fullest, but saying at the same time she's going to carry on his legacy by making the roads safer for other first responders.
I would like to thank our Hanover community for showing our family such love and support over these past 2 difficult years.
Words of gratitude from Melanie Clark Friday.
While we do not celebrate this conviction, it does provide us with a sense of comfort.
As she spoke 2 days after a tractor-trailer driver was convicted in the crash that killed her husband, Hanover County Fire Lieutenant Brad Clark.
Brad was just an incredible man, filled with laughter and joy.
The hydroplaning tractor-trailer smashed into a crash scene that Clark and others were responding to on 295 the night of Tropical Storm Michael in 2018. Melanie Clark praised the efforts of the first responders who came upon that second scene.
Even seeing the catastrophic event unfold in front of them, still be as professional and tend to all the victims, including the truck driver.
And while calling the conviction a hollow victory, Clark did say her husband's death has not been in vain, with Virginia strengthening its move over law since, which Clark says she'll continue to educate drivers about.
As motorists, I feel we have a responsibility to protect them while they are responding to emergencies.
And it's led to the creation of a memorial license plate to benefit a foundation helping families of injured or fallen firefighters. And Clark says while the family continues to seek healing and to live their lives to the fullest the same way Brad did, his legacy will live on through them and his fellow firefighters.
It is my hope that our community remember Brad for the life he lived, filled with passion and integrity, and not solely for the ultimate sacrifice he made.
Now, coming up at 6, we'll tell you more about those memorial license plates and how you can get your hands on one if you so desire. As for Lester LaBarge, the tractor-trailer driver who was convicted in this case, he'll be sentenced in January on involuntary manslaughter and reckless driving charges and faces up to 11 years. Working for you in Hanover County, Cameron Thompson, CBS 6 News.
Thank you, Cam. The State Corporation Commission has rejected a request by Governor Ralph Northam to extend the current ban on utility shutoffs. That ban is set to expire on Monday. Northam says he asked the State Corporation Commission to extend the moratorium so that Virginians could continue to access essential services during the pandemic. But the SCC says customers who enter extended payment plans with their utilities will continue to be protected from cutoffs. A Henrico jury finds a stepfather guilty of murdering his stepson last year. That verdict was handed down yesterday. Coming up at 5:30, our crime insider John Burkett spoke to the victim's brother to get his reaction, why he calls his brother his hero.
We're seeing another spike in coronavirus cases in some parts of the country, and it's coming at the start of flu season. The warning health officials have tonight.
And helping those struggling financially during the pandemic, a Black-owned nonprofit grocery store is offering low-cost food for families in need. Why the owner says you'll never see a price tag in that store.
One of the companies working on a coronavirus vaccine is now under the microscope. According to Reuters, I should say, the FDA has expanded its investigation into AstraZeneca after one of its volunteers in the UK fell ill with a rare spinal inflammatory disorder. AstraZeneca's U.S. trials have been on hold since September 6th after a trial participant here also became ill.
Some health officials are asking people to take precautions, comparing the possibility of an outbreak of COVID-19 and the flu to two hurricanes hitting the country at once. Coronavirus cases are once again on the rise in more than half of the country, including New York, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. Health officials say we're also seeing record numbers of COVID-related hospitalizations in Missouri. And all of this comes at the start of what is normally flu season here in the U.S.
The flu season is a bit like almost like the hurricane season. Having two respiratory viruses hit us at the same time, like two hurricanes hitting us at the same time, is a big deal.
Meanwhile, the House has passed a $2 trillion coronavirus relief package without coming to a bipartisan deal.
The pandemic has left a lot of people here in Virginia and across the country struggling financially, but the owners of one Virginia grocery store are doing what they can to lessen that burden. Jacob Hobson has owned the Vineyard Storehouse in Hampton Roads for 3 years now. It initially started as a church pantry, but has since grown into a Black-owned, veteran-owned, nonprofit grocery store. Hobson says demand has continued to go up since the start of the pandemic, and his store is working hard to keep up. The one thing you won't find in that store, price tags.
We love the response and the reaction to when they get to the register and they have a basket full of groceries and they realize that it's not what they thought.
Hobson says everyone who works at the store is a volunteer and the fruits and vegetables are all picked locally. Right now, Hobson says he's working to open a second location to help even more people. That is a great idea.
That's a neat place.
Yeah, they are really making an impact in that community.
And people volunteer and work there. That's great. All right, well, let's talk about the weather because that's pretty great too.
I don't even know why, Mike, why did you even come back inside, dude? You're like, it's so beautiful out there.
Because I missed you both.
Oh, there it is. We missed you too.
Thank you.
And I'm a delicate flower, so it may wilt if I stay outside too long. Well, we actually have movie nights at the Diamond tonight and tomorrow, and it's going to be nice. Just make sure you take enough kind of outer clothing because temperatures are going to drop down through the 50s this evening, and there's a little bit of a breeze, so it is actually going to feel a little bit on the cool side. Right now it's 66 out at the airport. Winds are out of the north at 12 miles an hour. They're lighting up tonight, and we have just a few scattered clouds across the area now, but those are in the process of kind of dissipating, and we'll have mostly clear skies overnight tonight. Down to 46, that's what we're forecasting at the airport. We'll have some low to mid 40s in the Richmond metro area. A little bit warmer near the coast, about 50 there, but our colder outlying areas north and west will dip down below 40 degrees. Lots of sun tomorrow, but again, tomorrow night and a Sunday morning, pretty much more of the same, some 40s, some 30s in most of the area. And then as we go into Sunday, we'll see a mix of clouds and sunshine very late in the day. like towards Sunset. There may be a shower in far southeastern Virginia, maybe also one out by I-81, but most of the state is going to stay dry on Sunday as well. Temperatures right now, we have a few low and mid 60s in a few spots to the north and west, but we have about 65 to 70 just about everywhere else. Cold front that came through with the rain last night and this morning is well off towards the east, and we have this cooler air coming in, and we're actually going to go back to Rob and Julie now with the report.
Yeah, we are understanding there is a special report, so we're going to go to it right now.
Coming in, President Trump will be taken to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center for treatment tonight. We know that the president and the first lady tested positive for coronavirus very late last night. A short time ago, the president's doctor issued a statement saying that the president had been treated with an experimental antibody cocktail, that he was experiencing fatigue. Let's bring in CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook. First, John, this is a serious development. The president is 74 years old. He is known to have some comorbidities. Why do you think they're bringing him now to Walter Reed?
Well, you know, we don't really have enough information, but you've heard the phrase, in an abundance of caution. So what you want to do is watch people very closely, because what can happen is that they can suddenly develop increased respiratory symptoms, become short of breath, and we know that they can very quickly become quite ill. So I'm sure they want them under as close watch as possible.
As a doctor, what are some of your concerns about the president and his health contracting coronavirus at his age?
Well, we know that the mortality rate in the United States for people who are over 65 is 15%, and he has obesity, he has age as a risk factor. And we also know that, you know, I was on the COVID wards at NYU Langone in April for a couple of weeks, and one of the things that we noticed back then was that people were okay for the first week. You could have symptoms that were like an upper respiratory infection, a little bit of fever, aches and pains, and then suddenly they would come in, they would really do a quick deterioration in some cases. And that second week became critical, and it was surprising to us. Now we know that, so we're on the alert for that. And I think that may be one of the reasons why they're bringing in to be more closely watched. They don't want to be surprised and have him be at the White House where there's not as much sophisticated equipment available.
Yeah, we're just hearing now from the president's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. I just want to quickly bring in Ben Tracy, who is at the White House on that. Ben, I understand that she's saying that he's going to be at Walter Reed for the next few days.
Yeah, that's the news that we're hearing right now. They're saying that the president will be working from his office there for the next couple of days. Obviously, his military doctors who work out of Walter Reed want the president there where they can evaluate him, they can run tests if need be, and make sure that he remains stable as the coronavirus runs its course for him. We were just talking to one of our CBS medical doctors who was telling us that oftentimes the way that this works is you can get quite sick at the beginning, you can feel a little better, and then you kind of get sick again. So obviously, out of an abundance of caution, at least, they want him there where they can observe him. We are expecting the president to soon leave the White House. We have not heard the helicopter lift off the South Lawn yet, but we are expecting him to take Marine One out to Walter Reed.
And I want to be clear to our viewers, while we are showing pictures of the president.
All right, we just heard in from a breaking news report that we're expecting the president to head to Walter Reed Hospital, where he is expected by several sources to spend a couple of days there as in an abundance of caution is what the White House, that's how they're calling it.
Sure. So we don't really have many details as to how severe his symptoms are. Earlier today, the White House saying he just had mild symptoms. So this could be just completely out of an abundance of caution to make sure that his breathing and everything is okay. So we will keep you up to date, and we'll be right back. If you want to take a little trip this Halloween, one town is offering you a spooky place to stay.
And appropriately, it's located in Hell, Michigan. Hell, Michigan. You can book a tiny home in the town for what Airbnb calls the spookiest Airbnb stay on earth. There's a fire pit, outdoor movie screens, scary movies, and gothic decor throughout the home. As you can see there in some parts, you see that. The self-proclaimed mayor of the town is offering the tiny home or his mayor's lair for 3 nights in October, and you'll even get to be mayor for the day, all for the low, low price of $31. The 31, of course, is inspired by the date of Halloween, October 31st.
I think it's charming, not spooky.
So the next time somebody says go to hell, you say Michigan.
Yeah.
Hell, Michigan.
Do you feel like you're eating more during the pandemic? If you said yes, you're probably not alone in reaching for your favorite snack foods. Coming up at 5:30, which foods in particular are seeing a rise in demand while people are in quarantine?
Got to put some hot sauce on them Cheetos.
Working for you. CBS 6 News at 5:30 starts with a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news is out of Washington, D.C., where we've just learned that President Donald Trump is being transported to Walter Reed Hospital to receive treatment for the coronavirus. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. I'm Rob Desir.
And I'm Julie Bragg. That announcement came just minutes ago. We do not have details yet on the severity of his symptoms, but CNN is reporting that he has had a fever today. Of course, President Trump made the announcement that he did test positive on Twitter this morning. Since then, it's become the most liked and retweeted presidential tweet of all time. The announcement came after one of his closest aides, Hope Hicks, tested positive for the virus Wednesday. She traveled with the president to Ohio and Minnesota this week. White House officials say both the president and First Lady's symptoms are mild because Melania has tested positive as well, and that their physician's office is doing the contact tracing. But it's unclear exactly how many people could have been exposed. Both Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden have tested negative for the coronavirus. So how will the president's diagnosis impact the race for president going forward? We're so close to the election. Shannon Lilly spoke with CBS 6 political expert Dr. Bob Holsworth for his thoughts.
As far as his campaign, CBS 6 political analyst Dr. Bob Holsworth says the president will have to quarantine for at least a week, putting events on hold and possibly even future debates on hold. He says as far as public opinion, the positive test may garner sympathy from some, but criticism from others. However, Dr. Bob says he doesn't see this drastically changing the way people are voting, and he doesn't see it impacting the presidential race here in Virginia. But he does say it could get more people out to the polls, including for the competitive congressional races in our state.
The issue is not so much that it would have a direct impact, but once again, does ultimately this impact turnout? Does it make one side more or less enthusiastic about coming to the polls? I don't think people are going to vote for Abigail Spanberger or Nick Freitas on the basis of what they think of the president's diagnosis. But how does this impact the enthusiasm and interest of people coming to the polls?
As for what happens next, Dr. Bob says he expects to see extensive contact tracing going on around the president, including testing for former Vice President Joe Biden, who stood little more than 6 feet away from Donald Trump during the debate earlier this week. But Dr. Bob adds that no matter what, he believes the election won't be delayed.
One could imagine in the worst case scenario, we could have two presidential candidates both impacted by this, which would be a horror story for America right now. It's very unlikely that the United States would ever consider postponing or delaying an election, short of anything which would be an immediate national emergency. We've had elections during the Civil War, during wartime, and my sense is that there'll be an election on November 3rd this year as well.
And we'll continue to follow how this all plays out. The news of President Trump's positive COVID-19 test comes just 1 week after Governor Northam and Pamela Northam also announced their positive COVID tests. In a tweet, Governor Northam sends his best wishes to the president and the First Lady and reiterates the seriousness of the virus. Working for you at the state capitol, I'm Shannon Lilly, CBS 6 News.
And we also spoke with voters in Hanover County today about the president contracting COVID-19, and here's what they had to say.
It was awful. I just thought, oh my goodness, I hope he's not got that he can get well soon and get back on the campaign trail and keep working hard for this country like he's been doing.
I'm just surprised he didn't take, he didn't get it sooner based on how he doesn't support the mask and different things that you should be doing, precautions.
I wasn't worried about it. People can have the coronavirus and not even show any symptoms or have any issue with it. He looks pretty healthy. He's telling people himself, so he doesn't seem concerned about it.
And as we mentioned before, the president revealed his diagnosis on Twitter. And since then, people have been weighing in all over social media. Our Candace Burns joins us now to share some of those comments from our Facebook and Twitter pages. Candace?
Well, Rob, there was a lot of reaction on social media right away following the news of the president and First Lady's positive COVID-19 results. Many people offering harsh criticism toward Mr. Trump, criticizing especially the way he handled the virus up until this point. Others attacked the criticizers, fiercely fiercely defending Trump, and then there were the people who put politics aside and offered compassion. Let's take a look at a few of those comments. Dan says, I'm not a Trump fan, but laughing at someone's illness is mean-spirited and revealing. Lily wrote, get well, Mr. President. This shows no one is immune to the virus. Just stop the spread by wearing your mask, sanitizing your hands, and most importantly, social distance, which will be hard for people who love big crowds, but it really works. And TJ posted, outside of politics, praying for Trump and his wife, not a supporter to him or Biden, but he's human, and wishing him and her the best of luck and a full recovery. And finally, former Vice President Joe Biden tweeted earlier today. He said, Jill and I send our thoughts to President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump for a swift recovery. We will continue to pray for the health and safety of the president and his family. There have been hundreds of comments posted throughout the day. You can follow this conversation. You can also leave your comments. We will continue to post updates to the story on our Facebook page. Rob?
All right, Candace, thank you. And remember, you can also watch our complete coverage anytime you want. CBS 6 is now streaming. All you have to do is just search WTVR Richmond on your device.
Other news now, we have new information out of Henrico today. The stepfather who police say murdered his stepson in their West End home last year has been found guilty. John Burkett has more on the verdict and spoke with the victim's brother about it. John?
Well, Randolph Smith, Julie, he is Neil Matthew Waters' stepfather, had claimed self-defense in the murder case, but a jury inside the courthouse behind me did not buy it and recommended he serve life behind bars. The cold-blooded murder of 40-year-old Neil Matthew Waters stunned this normally quiet Far West End neighborhood last year.
Things seem pretty normal to me, as they were before. I would imagine that the people around here are pretty shocked. I mean, this is a quiet neighborhood. But things seem pretty quiet since.
Henrico police arrested Waters' stepfather, 62-year-old Randolph Smith. He claimed his stepson lunged at him with a knife and the killing was self-defense. Thursday, a jury didn't buy it. They convicted Smith of first-degree murder and use of a firearm and recommended life behind bars plus 3 years. Matt's brother John tells me via text that his big brother was his hero, recalling how he swallowed a quarter as a youngster and Matt performed the Heimlich to save him. A testament, John says, of his brother's character, adding he loved his family, especially his son. A son who will have to grow up without a dad because Matt's stepdad decided to shoot him at close range with a shotgun.
I wish that these things can be resolved in other ways. I mean, there's just absolutely no excuse for violence on that level.
Now, Randolph Smith will officially find out his fate on January 29th. Again, a jury recommended that he serve life plus 3 years behind bars. Working for you in Henrico County, John Burkett, CBS 6 News.
All right, John, thank you. State lawmakers from both chambers have now approved the creation of a new Marcus alert. The governor still has to sign it before it can take effect, but it will pair police officers with mental health professionals when they respond to a mental health crisis. It is named, of course, after Marcus David Peters. He was shot after charging at a Richmond police officer who was trying to tase him during an altercation 2 years ago. That shooting was ruled justified, but family members argued he was in the midst of a crisis and needed help. The bill requires guidelines and training to be in place by 2021.
If you need a flu shot, you can get one for free right now in Richmond. The city and the Henrico Health Districts kicked off their series of flu vaccination clinics this afternoon. Mayor LeVar Stoney and School Superintendent Jason Cameras even rolled up their sleeves to get their shots. The clinics are available to those who are uninsured and underinsured, and we have a complete list of the locations on our website. Doctors say getting a flu shot could help clear up confusion if you start showing symptoms that could be those of COVID-19. Let's take a live look from our Sky Tracker camera right now and look at that sunshine and blue sky over out at the Diamond, looking over the interstate there. And we've had a great fall day today. So It's Friday. Let's talk about the weekend.
It's a great way to kick off the weekend, you know. And Mike's teasing us. He wanted to join us because he missed this. He only missed us for so long. Because now he's back outside.
Left.
I'm coming back in a few minutes. I need to keep moving, man. I need to hit 10,000 steps, and I'm not that close yet. I have to keep moving. I have to be constantly in motion. We have skies clearing out across here. I've had some clouds from time to time today, but those in the process of dissipating. And it's been a pretty nice feeling afternoon. This trend's going to last into a good chunk of the weekend. Right now, temperatures are in the 60s to around 70 degrees right now. We're down to 62 in Louisa, 66 at the airport, and 70 down in Wakefield. And we've had some scattered clouds today. Those are in the process of kind of fizzling out. And we are continuing to clear out. And as we go throughout the rest of this evening, temperatures will drop down through the 50s. And then check that out. We're down to the mid-40s by tomorrow morning. Our forecast low for Richmond International is 46 tonight. We'll have temperatures ranging from around 50 near the coast to a few upper 30s north and west, our kind of typical range this time of year when it gets cold. And then for tomorrow, high temperature in the upper 60s, which is a little bit shy of the normal high of 75 degrees. Good deal of sun today, and that will last into tomorrow as well. There may be a spot or two that sees a shower on Sunday, and I'll detail that for you coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you. Now, if you are looking for some fall fun, there I am. Let me just slide over this way. Here we go. If you're looking for some fall fun, you might want to check out Busch Gardens Halloween Harvest. It's over. But if you want to go, the park is doing things a little differently this year because of the pandemic. The park is scaling down their annual Hallow Scream event and will operate at a limited capacity. It features a pumpkin scavenger hunt, roaming monsters, and Halloween-themed food and drinks. And some roller coasters and rides will also be open. Halloween Harvest is running all month long. Park officials also say face coverings are required and there will be temperature screenings.
And if you're concerned, they really spread people out. I went last weekend and we enjoyed ourselves and felt very safe, just so you know. It is a family business in Richmond that is hard to miss, and the owners of the store have been satisfying customers for nearly 80 years. Hull Street Outlet sells military surplus, outdoor gear, and used office furniture. Sam Finn opened the store in 1942 during World War II. Now Sam's sons and grandson are carrying on his legacy. The owners say while competition from big box stores is a concern, they set themselves apart with customer service and a landmark sitting right outside their front door.
Just look for the big rocket. They go, "Oh, are y'all the rocket place?" I said, "Yeah, oh, I know where you are."
We just try to be real specific in what we know that we're good at. What you're doing is just trying to provide people a service that nobody else in town provides.
There's the rocket. Coming up on Greg McQuaid's I Have a Story, meet the family behind the business, going strong after nearly 8 decades. See how this store keeps attracting old and new customers year after year. That's tonight on CBS 6 News at 11.
Well, our neighbor to the south is easing coronavirus restrictions. North Carolina is entering phase 3 of reopening. What that will mean for you if you go to any concerts, bars, or sporting events in that state.
And this little guy was just saved from one of the wildfires still burning in California. Look at that baby. How he's doing now and what will happen once he recovers.
And NASA wants your help finding alien life and other planets in space. The project they want you to help research with, and why. North Carolina is now officially in phase 3 of reopening and began a short time ago at 5 p.m. Entertainment venues, including movie theaters, conference centers, and bars, will be allowed to open their outdoor areas at 30% capacity or serve 100 guests. Plus, large outdoor venues that can now hold more than 10,000 people will be able to operate at 7%, and amusement parks can open at 30%.
Look at this video. Look at that baby. Firefighters in California were able to rescue this cute little guy from one of the wildfires. A 4 to 6 week old mountain lion cub pulled out of a fire in Redding, California by a firefighter Wednesday. He has burns on his paws and singed whiskers. Look at him drinking the milk. He's getting treatment at the Oakland Zoo, and vets expect him to recover. Look at him just looking. I'm in love with him. And once he recovers, he'll be transferred to a wildlife sanctuary to live. Sweet baby.
Well, new at 5:30, NASA is asking for your help spotting new planets and possible alien life in space. NASA has launched a website called Planet Patrol, where members of the public can collaborate with astronomers to hunt for new worlds. They'll be sorting through images collected from a NASA satellite, and over the course of a year, that particular satellite captures hundreds of thousands of snapshots. It's too many for scientists to examine without help. Volunteers will answer questionnaires as they help sift through those photos. So
I like the thought that there's an ET out there.
We cannot be the only form of life in our solar system. There's more life out there. I've watched enough Green Lantern to know that, there's a lot of power rings out there, Mike.
Kind of interesting, though, they want some help from the public, because if you only knew the kinds of calls we get overnight.
In the newsroom?
With help with weather?
For the weekend mornings, I come in around 4 o'clock and I walk in. The first thing that hits me when I walk in, the producer goes, "Wait till I tell you about this call I just had." And I know the morning's getting off to a weird start already. Well, today we had some morning showers. We had some clouds and those broke up. We have some nice sunshine outside right now. And our high temperature today got up to 71 degrees after a low of 56. Just a trace of rain since midnight. That's the total for the month so far. Before the year, we're still about 12.5 inches above normal. And the record high for the state, 98, was set last year. Temperatures right now are in the 60s across the area. One exception, though, 70 in Wakefield. And overnight tonight, we dropped down to the low and mid 40s in the metro, closer to 50 near the coast, but some of our colder outlying areas to the north and west especially will drop below 40 degrees. And then high temperatures for tomorrow will be primarily in the mid to upper 60s to around 70, so not too dissimilar to what we had today. And then lows tomorrow night and Sunday morning, pretty much the same deal as tonight. Low and mid 40s in the metro, a few 30s north and west. For our day tomorrow, though, sunrise is at 7:07. We'll be up into the low 50s by 9 o'clock. Low 60s by noon. Our high of 68 degrees will occur by about mid-afternoon, and winds will be variable about 0 to 10 miles an hour. Very light day in terms of the winds for tomorrow. Just a few scattered clouds in a few areas this evening and overnight. Most of the area will be mostly clear. Good deal of sunshine for tomorrow, maybe a passing cloud or two. That is about it. On Sunday, most of the day will be mostly sunny, but then by late in the day, we'll have some clouds to the south and east and also the north and west. And in both those locations, we may get a couple showers like down by Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and those could even creep back westward towards about Williamsburg or Wakefield by about sunset. But the majority of the day for most of the area is going to be dry with some sunshine. A little system buzzes on through Sunday night and Monday. That gives us the chance of a couple showers. And that's about it for rain for the next few days, because we have that threat of a few showers on Monday morning. And then after that, for the week ahead, not much going on. We're going to have generally partly to mostly sunny skies the entire week. Watching a few things in the tropics, there's this disturbance here in the eastern Caribbean, which is going to track to the west. We'll keep an eye on that. But this is Tropical Depression number 25. Winds are at 35 miles an hour. It is expected to become Tropical Storm Gamma by later on this evening or tonight. It'll move across the Yucatan Peninsula and kind of hang out in the southern Gulf, Bay of Campeche. So we'll keep an eye on that. Not going to impact our weather, but there will be some issues possibly for eastern Mexico or even Texas. We'll keep an eye on that. For us locally, 68 tomorrow, and then another chilly night tomorrow night into Sunday morning. 70 on Sunday, a mix of clouds and sun. Chance of a couple showers Sunday night and Monday. And then after that, pretty dry for the rest of the week coming up. Looks like our warmest day will be Wednesday. A little front comes through and knocks temperatures back down into the 60s with lows in the 40s at the end of the week.